And I want to get to the funeral calls. Do we have time for this? I think we do. I think I can squeeze this in. I mentioned earlier that we had this crazy funeral fight and brawl, and we've got cars involved and tombstones knocked over. I mean, we've got the casket being knocked over. I mean, all kinds of crap here. So I thought maybe we'd tell the story, maybe then grab some phone calls, because historically, when we've talked about funeral fights, which I think that's a video series, man, funeral fights with special guest foreigner. Right, so,
how's that not a band?
All right, funeral fight. That's a good name for a band. You're right. All right, here's the deal. This is out of California, and a California guy went nuts. This guy went absolutely bonkers at his mom's funeral. He got into a car after a fight with his sister, knocked over his mother's casket with the car and the tombstones surrounding, like, the burial site at the cemetery. He was trying to run his sister down. You're at a funeral. They get into a fight. This guy gets into his car, drives up on the lawn at the cemetery, trying to plow his sister over with the car at the funeral, knocks mom's casket over, knocks numerous tombstones down.
Jeez.
36-year-old guy. Last I saw, not identified. He ripped up numerous plots, damaged a water main. That flooded his mother's open grave.
Oh, no. It's like a burial at sea.
What were his motivations?
This is good. This is a catastrophe.
Oh, my gosh. This video is crazy.
This happened at Rolling Hill Cemetery in Richmond, California. Oh, no, this video is not. The video that Fess is watching is of another funeral fight.
Froggy told me during a commercial break, hey, go to YouTube and just type in funeral fights, and one's better than the next.
All right, we got to go to the phones here. All right, let's go to the MJ Morning Show funeral phones, and I want to hear any kind of like crazy funeral fights, any kind of incidents, anything that you've witnessed, anything disturbing, anything that was just bizarre. Family fights, anything that you've seen that's been nuts at a funeral. Now, in the past, we've gotten some good stories. I don't know how this Thursday is going to be, but I guess we'll find out. 800-990-1047. So if you can share with us any crazy funeral stories or funeral fights, 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047 is how you get in right now.
I've never seen it. I've been in quite a few funerals. It's always been a peaceful deal.
I have never witnessed a funeral fight.
I would like to request at my funeral
a fight?
There be a fight.
A brawl?
Can I put that in the will? Froggy, listen.
The way you're going is going to be sooner than later.
At the way I'm going, you're going to be at my funeral. Froggy, I want you to start some stuff.
Okay, I will. With who? Like a family member?
There's more here. So this incident at this California cemetery, Rolling Hill Cemetery in Richmond, California, there was an estimated $20,000 in damage. There were also 20 angry, grieving family members that eventually got involved in this fight. This is nuts. One of the grieving family members even brought a stun gun to the funeral because they expected that there was going to be some kind of a fight at the funeral.
Well, because people get, wills and, where's the money going? And so everybody's tensions are high.
Froggy, bring a stun gun to my funeral.
You didn't care about Grandpa when he was alive. Come here.
All right, here's the phone number. And listen, I'm not saying you've got to live up to this story where one of the family members tries to run over the sister with the car, plowing into tombstones and knocking over mom's casket, busting a water main and flooding the gravesite. I'm not saying that your story has to, match this, but
it's like a Jim Carrey movie.
Does it have to have violence in the story? It can just be a crazy funeral story.
And Andrew's screening calls right now, but don't be intimidated. I'm not saying that in order for you to call in, you've got to have all of these crazy elements. But if you have any kind of a nutty funeral fight story or anything maybe amazingly uncomfortable, anything nuts that happened at a funeral, buzz us up. Want to hear it. 800-990-1047 is how you get in. 800-990-1047. Hey, Frank is in St. Pete. Hey, Frank, welcome to the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Good morning.
Frank, do you have a story from a funeral?
Yeah, so I'm actually a funeral director, and this stuff happens all the time.
Wow.
Tension, family, money, blood, it's insane.
Now, Frank, do you get like a Google alert on all funeral fight stories that pop up in the news?
No, I just happen to experience many, many of them.
Have you had anything that came close to the story that did you hear the story from the beginning?
Yeah, nothing quite that bad. That's really a YouTube moment, but I'm talking tension. But we've had situations where, one I can recall, we had an actual fight in a limousine. So I get out of the limousine to start bringing the deceased in. I look back, the limousine is rocking back and forth. I hear...
Well, that could be something else also.
Yeah.
A window breaks. I open the door to take the family out. Clothing is ripped. There is blood. And they say, no, that's okay. That's okay. That's just how our family rolls. But I'm telling you, it happens all the time. I heard your staff saying, they've never seen it, but it happens all the time. Talk to anybody in the funeral business, and they'll tell you it's a bloody business in more ways than one.
Frank, I have to ask you a very inappropriate question, and it just reminded me because you said the limo was rocking, and I read one time that grief makes people, for lack of a better word, frisky. Have you ever encountered anything like that, like inappropriate behavior?
Never heard that grief makes
Google it.
people frisky.
Google it.
Funeral?
No.
What? Funeral? You go to a funeral so you want to get it on with the widow in the back of the limo?
Death makes people horny.
Well,
Google it.
You talk about funeral sex?
I've never heard that. Grief makes people crazy. And I'll tell you what makes people crazy is money. And as soon as somebody dies, grandma dies, who's getting what? How much am I getting in the will? And before you know it, there's a brawl.
Frank, thanks for the call. Thanks for listening.
And then an orgy.
Thank you.
Appreciate
According
it.
to Roxanne, all the funerals she's been to.
Let's grab...
Take me on the casket.
Grandma lived such a good life.
Hey.
Doug, let's do it.
Tim is all the way out in Fort Meade. Hey, Tim, how does the signal come in Fort Meade?
It's good on clear days, but other than that, we listen. I'm actually heading over to Tampa for a meeting this morning, but so I'm listening, and it's kind of curious that a few years ago I actually worked in the funeral business, and from your previous caller, it is true, man. I haven't really seen a whole lot of fights, but whenever we were having certain families come in, we had this like little asterisk beside the family's name, and anytime that we saw the family call the funeral home to come in and take the basement, we would have to call the local sheriff or the police department and ask them to come up to the funeral home because we knew something was going to go down. So.
Yeah. I mean, now you were in the funeral business at some point, so 2 calls in a row about funeral problems.
You really have to be in the funeral business because that's when you see a lot of funerals.
We need the Undertaker to call up.
Right?
Yes, hello.
Nick is in Tampa. Hey, Nick, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, Nick, did you witness a funeral fight or something bizarre?
Yeah, so I went to a funeral. It was my uncle's girlfriend. Both her son and her father were in jail at the time, and they had to bring armed guards, and they were in shackles at the funeral.
Oh,
God,
man.
like
Wait a minute. So the deceased, the mother, both the husband and the son were in
father and the son.
That's what I'm saying. So the father.
Her father.
Say it again.
Her dad.
Oh, her father.
Her son. Yeah.
They were brought to the funeral in shackles?
They really do that?
Yeah,
Is his name Johnny Sack?
Different people. They had 2 different guards bring them in and then hold on to them as they were going through the funeral at the viewing.
Were they able to wear a suit, or did they have the black and white stripes on?
They had the
I'm sorry, the orange, like the DOC orange jumpsuit.
Yep.
What
They
year?
both had the orange jump.
Whoa! They were. Wait a minute. They were at the funeral in the orange prison jumpsuit.
Yep, and then they had shackles on their hands, legs, and then they had the one connecting both of them.
Oh my God, that is awful.
Do you know what these two guys did? Why were they incarcerated?
The whole family was in drugs. I'm not sure what kind.
Oh my God!
In drugs or on drugs?
Like on drugs.
Possibly both. I thank you, Nick. Good story. How about Troy in Clearwater? Hey, Troy, we're talking funeral fights here. Hi, Troy. You're on the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning. So years ago, I believe it would have been in the early 2000s, I was managing a security company in Clearwater. One of our guards who worked in Tampa in an office building, his father, who was a preacher, died. So we gave him off for the funeral, and a few of us went to show our support, and we ended up being pallbearers. Now, a day or so after the funeral, this guy was at his mother's house, now because the father died, got in an argument with his sister, who was a nurse, I believe, from Tampa General, and she lunged at him and stabbed him in the chest and killed him.
Whoa!
So within a span of a few days, the mother had to bury both the father and the son.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I'm not sure that's one's going to be topped.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Troy, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It's
awful, Troy.
It's like after the funeral.
Troy, the guy got stabbed by his sister at his mother's dinner table. It's awful.
David's in Zephyr Hills. Hey, David, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
Hey, MJ, how you doing?
Doing well. What's your story?
So I'll just real quick. It's long, and I'll try to just condense it down real fast.
Yeah, give me the 15-second version. What happened?
So my aunt and uncle lived in New Jersey. My aunt's brother, which was my other uncle, passed away while they were there. They got into a big fight about how they were going to get the body out. He didn't want to call the coroner because he thought it would cost money. So he goes and gets a refrigerator truck that he owns and puts him in the back of it and leaves him in there overnight.
That's right.
Frozen, basically. And so on the drive to take him to the coroner, the door opens and he slides out to his arms and he gets caught. And I'm not making this up. I swear to God this happened.
He's dragging from the back of the truck on the road?
Yes, and it ground his feet off.
Because he's frozen solid. MJ, he's frozen solid.
What?
All right.
I'm telling you, this story has went around in my family for years, and I've even some pictures of it.
Wait a minute. You have pictures of the ground off feet?
No, there was pictures of like them putting him in the truck.
I want to shaved ice.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's a trail of red everywhere you go. You ever go behind those work trucks and they have like a paint can spilling and you can follow where they went? Oh my God.
That's insane. Hey, thanks for the call. The phones are jammed here. Let me grab, how about Patty? Patty's in Clearwater. Patty, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hi, guys. Love you guys. I listen to you every morning.
Thank you, Patty.
I have a friend that her husband was shot after their father's funeral by the brother 6 times in Tarpon. That was in 2012. If you Google it, teacher shot, and the family sided with the shooter. They supported the guy who shot the brother.
Wow.
Did the brother make it? I mean, 6
the brother
times.
made it. He made a full recovery, thank God. It took him like a year. He was in the hospital.
How long after the funeral did he shoot him?
Oh, immediately. They all came back to the parents' house from the funeral. You know, Tarpon, they walked through the streets, right?
Oh, my God.
They went back to the house. And then they said, I think the guy's name is Alan. Where's Alan? So his brother went back to get him to come to the family. You know, they're having the after-funeral celebration or whatever. And, yeah, he shot him when he walked in the door 6 times.
That's unbelievable. Thanks for the call. Let's grab, have a great day. Tessa. Man, every line is jammed here. Tessa's in Lakeland. Hey, Tessa.
Hi.
Do you have a crazy funeral story?
It's not actually, well, it was well before the funeral. I am a hospice nurse, and I had just pronounced this woman deceased, and I had called the funeral home. And while we were waiting, the 2 daughters noticed that mom had these earrings in, and the one daughter wanted the diamond earrings and didn't want them to go to the funeral home. And so she started to take them out, and her sister jumped on her, and they were fighting on this woman's body.
Oh, my God. They jumped on mom's body because of the earrings?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Thanks. Line 5. This is Jessica. Jessica is next in St. Pete. Hey, Jessica, MJ Morning Show, you're up.
Hey, so So my mother-in-law, we were at my boyfriend's grandmother's funeral, and at the end of the funeral, everyone leaves. You know, they start to lower the coffin in the ground. She stays. She decides to take a selfie and falls into the hole with the coffin.
Ooh, like was backing up, taking the selfie, doing the duck lips, and fell right into the ground?
She was like laying on the ground next to the hole, trying to get the hole in the back of the selfie, and she like rolled into the coffin hole.
Oh, God.
And then calls us from the hole and asks us to come help her get
She
out.
calls you from the coffin hole?
Called us from the coffin hole because she wasn't tall enough
Get
to
out.
climb back out of the
Oh,
hole.
my God. Where did this happen?
So Pasadena,
Yeah.
the cemetery on like 58th
Yeah.
Street, heading into Gulfport.
Yeah, right near Stetson.
Could you imagine you're like seeing a loved one, and then a couple plots down, there's a woman screaming help,
My God. All right.
stuck in a grave?
Hey, Andrew, do I stop there or do I take any more? Just stop there or take one more? All right, hang on. I'm running late, though. All right, quickly, one more. JC, I got 30 seconds. Go. JC in Tampa.
Okay, we were on 275 with about 20 cars in a funeral procession. The hearse broke down. So all the 30 cars in the procession had to stop, and everybody got out and had to wait till a tow truck came for the body
Oh, no.
in their hearse.
But there was not a fight, though, just a busted down hearse.
Busted down hearse.
All right, thanks for the call, JC. Oh, and speaking of hearses, very thematic today.
Okay, so
Because in about 15 minutes, the funeral hearse ice cream truck shows up to our park. Yeah. It's what is it? It's frozen stiff?
Frozen Stiffs.
Frozen stiff ice cream. They serve ice cream out of a funeral hearse. They've got a freezer coffin. And seriously, they have all your favorite frozen treats. And we're bringing them in this morning. And we're supplying ice cream for the entire Beasley Media Group staff.
Does people know about it? Did you put up a memo?
When was the last time you checked your email?
Yeah, it's been
6
emailed.
months?
It's been emailed to Tampa all.
So
it's been emailed all week long.
What
So
did it say? There's a hearse bringing ice cream?
yes, exactly. Yeah. So
Perfect.
We've got a hearse bringing ice cream in like 15 minutes to the radio station, and I'm footing the bill.
I'm going to take some home.
Frozen stiffs for everyone. We'll take pictures. We'll put it up on the website.